Hi everybody, welcome back to the second part of our exclusive Blood Red podcast interview with former Liverpool winger Jermaine Pennant. Now, as promised, this one is on all things from his own Liverpool career, from when Steven Gerrard tapped him up during a game with Birmingham City. Let's just say that one was a little bit of a distraction for Jermaine, to his own up and down relationship with his manager Rafa Benitez, where he thinks his Liverpool career started to unravel despite a really strong start. He talks the 2007 Champions League final, one of the highlights of his career, as he came up against Kaka, Maldini and all those other AC Milan legends. It might not have been a night to remember for Liverpool in terms of the result, but it is one Jermaine will never forget. And of course, he also talks about that infamous trip to the Algarve before Liverpool's trip to Barcelona, where John-Arne Riise and Craig Bellamy came to blows. Now, Jermaine was not an eyewitness for that little incident, shall we say, because he was up in his own escapades involving Jerzy Dudek, Pepe, Reina and the police. He reveals all. It's a really interesting listen, and it perhaps doesn't go the way you'd expect. And we also get Rafa Benitez's post-incident filled team meeting on the pitch, where Liverpool put it behind them and how they managed to bounce back to claim one of the most famous victories in the Champions League in the Camp Nou, thanks to Bellamy and Riise. Yeah, Pennant is certainly an interesting character, and hopefully you'll enjoy the second half of this podcast. Stay tuned, enjoy. Now, you've brought us nicely onto the next question there by bringing up Stevie. I believe he sort of tapped you up when it was your own playing days, when it came to your own move to Liverpool. I know you've said the story before. I just wanted an updated version for him tapping you up on the pitch.
Yeah, it was obviously Liverpool versus Birmingham at Birmingham and St Andrews, and he just came up to me while the game was playing, said, "Oh, who's your agent?" So I just told him who my agent was, and then he goes, "Oh, okay," and then jogged off, and I was just left there in a puzzle. So rather than thinking about the game, I started to chase him and say, "Do you want his number?" while the game's playing. And he didn't really respond. So then I chased him further. Again, the game's still playing here, and I said, "Oh, do you know him?" And then he responded this time, says, "Ah, no, but I'll find out. I'll find out who he is," and then that was it. So then throughout the game, I had one mind, one half of mind on the game, and the other half was thinking, "What's going on here? What just happened?" Yeah, and that's how it works.
Obviously, coming to Liverpool, you link up with Rafa Benitez. Now, he's a manager who I suppose was very strict, I suppose, from some point of view. He's a manager that you wouldn't necessarily click with. But how are those early meetings with him?
It was a bit hostile at first. He was, it was a bit weird, I would say. My first meetings was he told me to write down my mistakes and on a piece of paper and give it him, and then brainstorm how you would, do right. So from the get-go, the first meeting was a bit strange. Um, but yeah, my time there was, I love being at Liverpool. I supported this team since I was a little kid, and it was a dream to play for them. But I think Rafa Benitez was very, very hard to really work with. Didn't like to see anyone's views. It was his way or no way. Um, I felt like you couldn't really approach him. Obviously he's very successful for Liverpool, his time there. But yeah, I think a lot of people, a lot of players really didn't see eye to eye at times. And yeah, and he wasn't the best manager.
Was there a moment where your relationship changed with him? Because obviously you played a lot for him during that first season. He's talking you up, saying you should be in the England squad. But then after that first season, you've had the game of your life in the Champions League final. You weren't in the team as much. I know you got an injury and you sent off in the Porto game. Was there any specific moment you can pinpoint?
I think it all started from when I was playing that whole last season, the first season, sorry, with a slight stress fracture in my shin. It would always ache after games, and I have to take some certain medication to numb the pain. Um, and then the start of the season, the medical staff, look, if you continue, it may snap. So do you want to do surgery on it? So I did, and then I was out for 3 months. And then when he kind of rushed me back in a game at Anfield against Wigan. I think it was 1-1. I didn't play great. It was my first game back from a long injury. And after that, I just found it hard to get back in the team. He wasn't really selecting me much, and my mental health took a hit with it. I didn't know how to cope with not playing, being in the team, and I just wanted to play, and I kind of got frustrated, and then slowly went off the rails like that. And he never told me why. Couldn't really approach him, so I just felt lost and lonely. And then from then on, it kind of just went from bad to worse um, throughout the seasons, and then kind of left in the dark.
It's a shame because it did come off the back of what was one of your best performances in a shirt in that Champions League final. And looking at those squads, you must have been the only player who wasn't an international or didn't win this endless amount of trophies. So even though you lost your game, what are your memories of that playing against Maldini, Nesta, and all these players you're running at?
Okay, it's a highlight of my career. A double a double bubble for me, as in I played in the Champions League final, which every professional wants to, and then I played it with my boyhood club, Liverpool, which those two things there is a dream come true for any young kid. And I got them both. Obviously, we lost, which is a bittersweet moment, but to reach those heights and to do that was a fantastic moment for me. And playing against Maldini and Kaka and Seedorf and Pirlo, Inzaghi, those moments will live me forever. And then I'm very glad and grateful that I managed to achieve that with Liverpool.
Did you swap any shirts with any of these players, or you still got hold of your own one?
My brother's got my one. I want it back. My brother's got it, but I didn't swap no. But I think I think the whole squad was so distraught because we were the better team that game. We dominated the match, but we just didn't come away as victorious. And I think the team was so down and upset. We just didn't feel like we wanted to swap shirts.
Do you still have the medal?
Oh yeah, that medal's goes with me everywhere. No, I've still got the medal at home. Still there in the cupboard. Yeah, and it's just again, I know it's a runners-up one, but it's a great achievement to say that I've got one of these medals.
Now, one of the big talking points from that season was Bellamy and Riise in that training camp, and I believe there was another incident as well with Jerzy Dudek. I think you and Robbie Fowler might have been involved in that one as well, but that's almost been overlooked somewhat because of Riise and Bellamy. So I was wondering if you were willing to divulge your point of view, what your version of events from that trip.
For what, when Jerzy Dudek got arrested?
Yeah.
Yeah, he got arrested. It was a madness. Basically, was out at the bar, and as he turned round, he bumped into a young female, and her nose just literally went pop, and loads of blood came, and a lot of frantic. It was totally an accident. He just as he turned round, they just bumped into each other. Obviously, not speaking Spanish, the Spanish waiter and the bar staff and everyone's panicking, and we don't know what's going on. The police then get called. It all gets settled, and then next minute, Jersey, we see him get handcuffed. And Pepe goes over to try and calm things down. He then gets arrested, and then next minute we see two of our goalkeepers getting driven off to a police station. And like we're thinking, oh my God. Uh, then obviously it all gets sorted out. I think Rafa has to come to the rescue at some stage. But yeah, it was an absolute calamity that night. It was a madness.
What was the team meeting like after that with Rafael? Because obviously you've had Bellamy and Riise as well. He must have been
It was on
livid.
the training pitch. It was, everyone got on the training pitch. We all just before we train, it was a big circle. First of all, he tells Bellamy and Riise that, enough's enough. We end it now. You know, do your due diligences, apologize, sorry, or whatnot, and shake as men. And then he says to Jersey and Pepe, I don't want it to anyone. I don't want to see this kind of incident happen ever again, whether it's on tour, whether it's at home, X, Y, Z. It's not on. And we all just agreed and just literally it stayed here. It goes no further. And we went on to training and have a good few days.